Hey, welcome to the pre-feed show, courtesy brought to you by K28. When you want to put a smile on your face, just thank K28 for the pre-feed. So the first song of the night will be Waiting for the Night.
32 minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to SpaceboyUniverse.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to SpaceboyUniverse, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Surlana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence. And remember, it's Spaceboy's universe, and you're in it.
It is indeed another episode of Spaceboy Universe, and you're tuned in with Spaceboy and Surlana. Yay! Today is July 16, 2016, and we're on show number 046. And tonight we'll be talking about the new Ghostbusters movie. Yes, Surlana and I had an opportunity to go see it today, and we will talk about it. And remember, no spoilers, sweetie. And we'll take your calls. So, as always, remember, you can follow us on Twitter. That's at the SBU Universe. And become a fan of Surlana. She needs more followers. At Surlana. That's Surlana. And she's cringing her face as I speak at this time. Hashtag us at SBU Universe. That's the hashtag for Twitter. Spreaker Chat, if you want to hang out where all the cool cats are, you can do that by going to... that would be SpaceboyUniverse.com, and then at the very top of the player where it's at, you'll see the little chat bubble doing its little bump and a bump, and you can click there, and then that'll get you where all the cool kids are, and all the space cadets are hanging out there doing their thing. Of course, you can always do this on Twitter too. It's very interactive with the show. As always, if you want to find us on the other parts of the web, you can do that on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr. Just search for Spaceboy Universe. And of course, we do audio here, but we are on the YouTube. Yes, you can find us on Spaceboy Universe's YouTube site where we do reviews and all that other good stuff, games, pop culture, interviews with different things that we've gone through, and that's always good. So, and we always recognize that you can't catch a live show. So that's why we have on demand. You have Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, and iTunes. And man, it feels good to have archives. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to the lovely Surlana. Hello, Surlana.
Hey.
I'm glad you were able to make it to the show.
Yeah, I was dangerously close to not being able to be on because I woke up with a headache that would probably stop a horse in its tracks. And by the time we got home from movie watching and lunch, I had to take something pretty strong that I have for migraines. And I think I slept from 2 p.m. to 6:30, and that's why I probably sound funny.
Well, I even caught a little nap there, and you got worried that
I had to wake you up from a coma.
Hey, before we go any further with our banter, I just want to talk about something that's coming up with Spaceboy Universe, but it's the Maker Faire. Yeah. Mark your calendars, Space Cadets. The Houston Mini Maker Faire will be at the George R. Brown Convention Center for a 2-day event. That's November 12th and 13th. Come join them and be a part of their growth story as they boost invention and creativity through the greater Houston area by developing a world-class exhibition. With your support, they will bring more exhibits, activities, and mental stimulation, and new and exciting things for both Maker Faire veterans and newbies. stay tuned to the official Houston Mini Maker Faire website at www.houstonmakerfaire.com to hear more insights about content, schedule, tickets, and Maker I always get this one. Maker
Exhibitions.
The person that did the
Exhibitors.
Thank you very much. Registration. So all that good stuff. Go to that website, and that's www.houstonmakerfaire.com for more details. And, of course, keep it tuned here to Spaceboy Universe because we're going to be hanging out with them on the 12th and the 13th, too. We're going to be doing a live broadcast and lots of stuff. So information's on our website, and go to their website. There's, an icon on our website that'll take you there. So how about that, Surlana?
Sorry, I was not paying attention.
That's fine. I felt like maybe you'd be proud to me, getting it to that last bit and then. So anyway, banter time, as we like to do it during the first part of the show here. What you got? I'm going to let ladies, because it is kind of a ladies' night first tonight. So.
Well, yeah, considering our topic. Let me just move the grocery list out of the way. Put it in one of my banter notes because I have to multitask sometimes. In local news, guess what? There is a Think Geek store, physical store, going to open in Humble, Texas, which is directly north of us within a drivable distance, dangerously close to where Leanne is, lurking about. And I think we might go check that out. They're having a grand opening next Friday.
Mm-hmm. That should be cool. We only know that we've ordered from them several times. And they've got really some cool stuff for people of all ages. So
I'd be curious to see what they put in the store, physical store.
Well, hopefully it's a big store, and they have lots of goodies. And, yeah, we're going to go check it out. They have a supposedly costume thing going on too, and maybe I'll just purposely get onto the spacesuit and show up to that event, and we'll take our camera and video it. And
if they'll let us, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, if we'll.
I know the mall it's going to be in. I've been in that mall before with her. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Think Geek. In fact, their website is thinkgeek.com. For all the cool geekiness, toys and knickknacks and all the things you can think of, thinkgeek.com. So that's definitely something that we should definitely go check out and make a trip out of it. And I know that we've got some other things that we're working on and we're waiting to hear back. There's a historical interview thing that we are kind of waiting to hear back, and it's here in Houston, and we're looking forward to that too. So I'll probably follow up on Monday to make sure that we can nail down something, so that we can bring some historical content to the universe. Mm-hmm. What else you got over there?
I saw that the action figure is already out for Rogue One. There will be no Where's Jen. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that's her name. Hashtags. They've already got the female action figure out for Star Wars Rogue One. Hopefully no upset there like they did for Ridley.
Well, I guess they felt like they learned their lesson. And if there's anything we're going to learn tonight is the importance of how things are kind of like flipping the script, so to speak.
Yes.
In my day, it was like, a lot of those toys were geared to boys my age. Like Star Wars when it came out, you had all these toys and everything kind of geared to that, but it wasn't really geared to young women at that time.
No, I don't know why we've got to keep these stereotypes around about women do this and they're like this and they only like that. I mean, why? We're just people like males.
Well, Surlana, we don't want to open the can of worms
just
yet. We'll get to all that good stuff and alienate a few men out there in the audience.
Well, maybe that's going to have to be done.
But we'll talk more about that. But it's cool to see that they, Disney is now kind of like, hey, okay, here it is. Here's the action figure for that, and we're sorry. We don't kill us because we make it a mistake. I want to get into a serious issue here for a second. It's bad enough that people walked around reading text and not looking up where they were going.
Oh, boy.
Or reading their emails where they were going. But now, and this is terrible because, I love video games. But this Pokemon thing has gone out of the universe itself. You have different people, going to different places, looking for these Pokemon. And in fact, I know, excuse me, the Pokemon. Anyway, so most recently, Central Park in New York, I guess they had spawned some Pokemon there, and everybody just lost their stuff and was like flooding into there and just trying to catch these Pokemon. And your thoughts on this?
Well, I was actually curious about it. I was thinking about, maybe I'd like to do it just to experience it. But my concerns are, what information does this app take off your phone and about you? What does it access? Mm-hmm. And I have some concerns about that. So, and I don't know that I would be able to get into it enough to make it worth my while. So,
well, I heard that it does take some very personal information from you, and I just don't. I'm very leery about anything taking that much information. I try to limit. I mean, there's some things I allow to a certain degree, but there are things like I don't need you accessing my email, or I don't need you accessing certain personal like photos or whatever, and going from there.
I almost wanted to tell a personal story, but I just thought about it. No, I don't want to get somebody in trouble.
You kind of got me curious because you had this look on your face.
Well, what happened to me Tuesday?
Oh, see, you're gonna.
I can't.
I
don't want to get somebody in trouble.
Well,
yeah.
First, you're gonna ask me something, and I'm like struggling trying to remember, barely, And
why was I late getting home Tuesday from work?
Was it the workplace going?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Yeah. So there's if you follow.
From what I understand is, I don't know how they do this technology, how they program these little critters to be at a certain place, and you've got to go find them, or how you even find out that a certain creature's at a certain location. Because I know what Pokemon is, and that's about it. I don't have any dealings with it from the 90s or anything. So,
well, I used to play it back in the 90s, but I just, once again, it comes back full circle where there's just some things some companies just don't need the amount of information that they want.
Yes, that's true. So what were you telling me, that it has to have your access to your email account?
Yeah, I believe it's your Google account is what it needs access to, and it's bad.
Your Google email?
Yeah, I mean,
Gmail?
The supreme lord of the internet.
Well, the thing is, my Gmail email account exists only for that reason. Just put all the garbage goes there. I never check it. It fills up with stuff.
Well,
it's not my primary email by any means.
I had to use it for
and it is an obscure title to my email. So
Twitter notifications. Cause
yeah. Same here.
Holy smoke!
And Facebook and some other media.
I mean, you were making fun of me the other day that I had like 27,000.
Oh, I glanced at your phone and I saw the little red number indicators above the email icon, and I went, "How do you have that much email?"
Once a year, I try to go through my email.
Lord have mercy.
I mean, because I do get it complacent in doing it, but but a lot of it's just junk mail.
Mine says 287 right now, but that's several different email accounts. It's counting up.
Yeah, Dennis is saying that he's at 7,000, and but yeah,
well, Dennis is popular.
I've actually, to be honest with you, I've had it closer to 60,000 emails on it now, and it's even worse now because I have different Spaceboy accounts that we follow.
I think half of it's Patrick's email. So do not
mess with my Patrick emails.
No, I'm not. I ain't hating on him. No,
there is emails that I get that I could care less about, but my Patrick Spore report emails.
I only have 6 email accounts linked up on my phone.
But and how many does it say on your email? How many you have?
Well, the email icon just says 287 right now.
287. Man, I wish I
Some
had.
of that comes from Gmail that I don't.
But I have a lot of junk mail that I have to shift through, and there's no way.
It's mostly junk.
It's mostly junk. So.
And some of it's stuff. It's like, don't you want to buy this? I'm like, yes, I do, but I can't.
Robert is coming in. Bob. 21,250 on his email.
Dang, Bob.
I don't think it's.
Dang, Dan, that's a lot.
We have a winner. Dan takes the number at 224,000 unopened emails. That's bad, when you get to that point. But
and hi, Dan.
Yes. Welcome to the show, Dan. Email. I like I said, at least I make an honest attempt once a year to kind of like go through all my email and just kind of like just trash it, whatever it needs to be trashed. And, and it's not like I can start with another email because, when I got that email, I've been using this one particular email for over 25 years now.
Yes.
And
me too.
I hate to give it up.
I have one particular account I've had since the 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I hate to give it up, because I've been using that particular email account for so long. It's kind of like a part of me. I recognize that because, it's it's been there forever and a day.
And I just got this year a more professional-looking free email account for professionally things.
And then plus now, we're using, space-related mail, too. And that's not so bad because I'm not getting...
That sounds weird, space-related mail.
It's not so bad in the sense that I don't get spam like I do on my Yahoo account. I have a Yahoo account, people. I've had it forever
Me
and a
too.
day. And I struggle with the fact of not giving it up. And so, anyway, but I do have a Google account email, for the sole reason of
just garbage
as a bottomless abyss pit
to sign up
stuff,
and we have 3 accounts with the universe,
Google related stuff.
4 accounts.
We have to have a Google account. What for YouTube?
Yes.
So it's kind of it's not like you can put your own email account into it, and then they expect you to have a Google account. Now, before Google loses its britches on me. Hey, we love you.
Necessary evil.
It's necessary for what y'all do, but on the flip side, y'all do some good stuff.
Speaking of technology, there's going to be a Rick and Morty VR. I don't know if anybody else knows what Rick and Morty is. It's a animated cartoon on Adult Swim.
Hey, Morty.
So they might do a virtual reality of the garage, Rick's garage, and you might be able to...
I think you showed me a clip of that yesterday.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
It's kind of not PG.
Honestly, I'm ready for Rick and Morty to come back
Me
on.
too. And then we got to see a preview of Mr. Robot before the movie. They were doing that first look. And Mr. Robot comes back next weekend,
I'm
as
really
well
looking forward to
as
that.
something else comes back next weekend.
I think Mr. Robot's timing is probably perfect in the world that we're living in at this time. With everything going to hell in a handbasket right now.
Something else is premiering next week, and I can't remember what it is. So I know speaking of technology, it's all technology. You're jazzed about the new Nintendo NES coming out.
And that's my little girl screaming inside that I'm looking forward to. She's asking me if we should do a Nintendo night. I'm thinking, and she's like, yeah, I should.
I know you want to.
This new NES game system. It's like the old system, but it's been scrunched down.
It's in the palm of your hand, looks like.
It has an HDMI plug-in. It comes with one controller, classic controller. You can get another controller for just $10. The unit is going to cost around $60. But, figure 30 games, I guess it's like $2 a piece.
How much did it cost back in the day?
$2
brand
a
new?
piece. Well, it was like over 100 and something. But, I mean...
Half off.
Some of the games are like Donkey Kong. I love Donkey Kong. So it comes with Super Mario Brothers, the original one. It comes with Legend of Zelda 1 and 2. So those are... And Castlevania. Oh, I love Castlevania. one of the classic NES games that I used to play that for hours. I never defeated it, but I could just sit there and play it for hours. So really some cool games, because we bought some of these, the classic Atari 2600 thing, Flash Forward or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And we bought a Coleco one, and then we bought a Mattel knockoff one, and
you bought, and you played. I was like, oh, that's nice, dear.
Well, you didn't seem very interested, and I can understand. Because
I didn't really play other than in the arcade.
You didn't have the nostalgic value there. But
all I had was that Odyssey.
Now you seem to enjoy when we played the Atari Vault.
I did enjoy
from
that.
Steam, where we played some of the classic Atari 2600 games. And you did quite well on some of those.
I love Centipede.
Yeah, and then of course they had the actual arcade ones.
Actual arcade.
The Centipede,
If we win the lottery, we could probably get
Centipede's good.
Arcade
but
games.
Here's the question of the night that I propose to the Space Cadets: Centipede or Millipede? Centipede or Millipede? Now, I'm going to go out and tell you which one's my favorite.
I'd have to go back and review our game.
Yeah, the Millipede game is probably my favorite, is because it has the DDT in it, and when you blew that up, you could actually take out a whole centipede. And so that was one of my favorites, is the Millipede. And there's a confirmation there from Dennis, Millipede. But, my mom loved Centipede. She was just into that. When we'd go to an arcade, that was one of her games, is she'd go to Centipede, and of course that trackball, and it just takes back to good memories and stuff like that. Oh, Tempest is another game, a good game. Although
it is rough to play Centipede, Millipede on the PC with just the arrow keys.
Mappy, I had moments where Mappy was good, sometimes bad, and then of course Missile Command. I'm going to tell you what, Bob. Missile Command would give me a panic attack, to be honest with you. I'd get into it, and eventually you'd get to where everything's like just like plop. Everything comes out of the sky from nowhere, and you have to at least protect the far right or the far left city and the missiles, just so you can make it to each round. So yeah, Missile Command, definitely. If I wanted to have a heart attack, once you start getting up, because that's one of those games, it just doesn't end. It just keeps going and going, and it kind of reminds me of Matthew Broderick's movie War Games.
That was a good
where
movie.
The computer finally realizes.
Wasn't there a rumor it getting remade or something?
Yeah, actually, I think it did. But it was like, eh. But the Whopper computer, finally realized that the best...
Is it open at midnight?
The best solution is not to play the game at all. Mm-hmm. And so, anyway, but a little classic arcade talk. And, you're going to get all that stuff here at SpaceboyUniverse. So, yeah, I'm glad you brought up the NES game. I'm really jazzed, and I'm going to get that. And it comes out in November, which is just in time for my birthday. So I know what I'm getting for my birthday.
I got to figure out a way to earn $60. That's legal.
So let's see here, Surlana. I guess it's kind of a weird time to take our break into what we talk, but let's go ahead and take the break now. Let's see here. Joust. Oh, Joust is a good one. I love that game.
I never could figure out how to play Joust.
Flapping birds and the eggs, you got to pick them up. And I know I'm in Stargate. Stargate, it was Defender. And then they came out with Stargate. Stargate had a little portal you could go into, and see, you get me started on this. I get all
right. Well, we've got our show for the 30th, I guess.
So, all right, you are listening to SpaceboyUniverse.com. We'll be back right after these messages.
I'm from another planet.
Hello, Space Cadets. It's me, Spaceboy of Spaceboy Universe Live. I'm here to ask you to consider donating to cover our costs for broadcasting our live show. We love our show. We believe in the product, but we need your support. So visit SpaceboyUniverse.com and click the Donate Now button. This will take you to the SBU PayPal account, and you can choose the payment type of your choice. Every little bit helps. Surlana and I appreciate your support. And as always, listen to Spaceboy Universe live on Saturday nights at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, only on SpaceboyUniverse.com.
Hello Space Cadets. It is announcer Savannah. I want to tell you that as a dedicated member of the SBU team, you always want to look your best. Do it in a Spaceboy Universe t-shirt. Get yours at SpaceboyUniverse.com by clicking the banner on the website. Remember that, it's Spaceboy's Universe, and you're in it.
This is author Gordon Root. You are listening to the Spaceboy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, this is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
This is Wendy. I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeLille. I listen to Spaceboy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mom and them I said hi.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt and Bot vs. Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot. You're terminated. Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hi, this is Spaceboy, and I want to take this time to invite you to join Spaceboy and Surlana in our on-demand show called Data Bites, bite-sized pieces of the universe. You can catch it on demand on Spreaker.com. Just search for Spaceboy Universe. And remember, it's Spaceboy's Universe, and you're in it. Hey, Surlana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe?
SpaceboyUniverse.com. Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at SpaceboyMusic.com.
Greetings, Space Cadets. Let's see what's in the sky tonight in the Spaceboy Universe. Tonight, in the eastern sky, we have Spaceboy Universe rising above the horizon in glorious splendor. And in the west, we can see Surlanus Majoris, which is visible at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, just below the K28 belt. So keep your eyes on the sky and listen to Spaceboy Universe.
Greetings everyone. You can catch Spaceboy Universe on every Saturday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. However, we know that you might not be able to catch the live show. That is why we have many places to listen to it on demand, like iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube and Spreaker. So take the universe with you wherever you go. Always remember that, it's Spaceboy's Universe, and you're in it.
To call in, dial area code 713-7015-214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Oh my goodness. It was like a bomb just went off in this. Surlana had run to get some beverage for herself.
I just ran into the kitchen. I'm out of breath.
And she comes back and then she hits the mic and it's like, and I'm like, my inner ear is like vibrating like.
Well, look, you're lucky I'm here. You're just lucky I'm here glad. Because I started out the day with a headache that would stop an elephant in its tracks.
Well,
so
I'm worried that I think we need to clear out the hallway because you could have had an accident and
it's dark in the hallway too. Yeah, I ended up having to take. I have something for migraines because I suffer from migraines. So I had to take one of those, and we got home about 2 p.m. And I was out from 2 p.m. to 6:30. So, yeah, I just, yeah.
All right. So, Surlana.
Mm-hmm.
Today we went to go see the movie Ghostbusters.
Yes.
The new Ghostbusters movie. So where do we begin on this long journey into the night, talking to our fellow space cadets on this?
Well, I have this sort of divided into pros and cons, or rather cons and pros, because I want to end on the good notes, you know.
Sure.
So one of the things that I read is it's projected to earn up to $50 million over this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That's just some facts before we get it started.
Okay.
And let's see. So let's just jump into it. So these are kind of like the cons, or my little critiques, and you jump in when you want to. Overall, the movie sort of lacked an epicness of a summer blockbuster. Mm-hmm. It didn't have, I don't know if it's just because of the times we live in now, it didn't have all that hype and build up in the good way that the original did, like the 84 one.
Well, in all fairness, just let me jump right in here on this one, is that I haven't really, I mean, the only movies I see that are out there that are epic are the Marvel movies. And,
yes.
And then now that Star Wars is gearing up, you have the Star Wars franchise start to put out epic movies. But there was a time back in the 80s where, I'm sorry, I'm distracted by Surlana, and she's cleaning out her jug.
I'm sorry, and I'm going to have to do something really unprofessional. I'm going to have to pour a beverage while we're live.
But anyway, I digress. So
you'll hear that. I'm sorry.
Let me get back to what I was saying. So, yeah, epic movies, you know, back in the 80s, you know, it was like, wow, that's great. Ooh, I can't wait to see that. That looks phenomenal. This movie, hey, I was looking forward to it. I'm not going to deny I was not looking forward to it, because of all the garbage we were hearing about. Oh, I can't believe that blah. There's a female cast and et cetera, et cetera. But getting back to your con, yeah, I have to agree. It wasn't epic.
The wrong sort of. Sorry about that. I'm trying to open a bottle here of beverage. I apologize, but I cannot wait till the next break. So, yeah, one of the things...
The key thing is hashtag Surlana's thirsty.
Yeah. But one of the things you had pointed out, and this also ties into the build-up, the excitement before the movie is, sure, we had a lot of, hey, here's the new theme song. It's done by Missy Elliott and somebody. But I didn't really hear much about that.
Hold on. Before we go any further, I should have said this before. We are going to try our darndest to make sure that we don't do any spoilers. And
I won't intend to. I won't mean to. But if you feel like you don't trust me, and that's fine, don't listen until you've seen it. Come back, check this out on demand. Mm-hmm. I'll try to. But
yeah, we're not going to try to spoil the movie, but we will. We're going to give you our honest critique of the movie and all that good stuff. And so, but yeah, you were mentioning Missy Elliott, and
which I didn't hear what they played. I didn't hear her at all in what they played in the movie.
I would have to go back and review, because
and we're into that because you're a musician and I'm married to a musician, so my life is all about music. So I'm like, the whole movie was like, where's...
Can I bring up one topic of the...
Sure.
Okay. So I take this movie as a whole, and I pretty much split it like right in half. Now, the thing that bothers me about the first thing, and it's music-wise, is that in the original movie, you had kind of that fun, upbeat moments where it's dun, 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 and goofiness. And it's kind of a goofiness and everything. The opening the music didn't really have any of that. It was kind of dry, So that was my first.
It would punch up the scenes, with the. As we're used to seeing, with
the
soundtracks.
Original, the original. Well, let's just take the original, for example. I hate comparing the two, but this is kind of an essential thing with any kind of movie.
Yeah, you don't have to compare it to that. You compare it to any movies.
Here's a good example: John Williams is the master of music. When it comes to music, his scores are recognized immediately. When Darth Vader comes in, you hear the Emperor's March. You know something about is about.
But you're not going to get that epicness with every movie.
Still, there's still easy ways to pump up the feel of the
jams.
Yeah, pump up the jams, if you will, of the movie. And here's another good. Back in the day, you remember how back in the day that they would make a soundtrack. They had all these different artists that would come in.
Hear about soundtracks anymore?
There was all I heard was
no hype.
Hey, Missy Elliott's going to be in this music in this movie, and that's it. And then kind of dropped it from there.
I don't think there's been any remarkable talk about soundtracks probably since Inception. That made sort of an impact, and that became sort of memeified.
Right.
But other than that, nothing.
I mentioned Prometheus.
Yeah,
that scary.
That weird. Someone squeezed the cat sound.
Right, exactly. And but you hear that, and it's like
it wasn't actually in the movies.
You think panic though when you hear that. So. But and then of course Terminator. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, but that's 80s again. This is back to 80s.
Yes,
80s.
but
they knew how to do the soundtracks.
So that was my complaint in the beginning of the first half. This movie, as musically, comes down into two halves: the first half and the second half. The first half left me like dry and it didn't pull me into the movie to build into the characters because you only have so much time to draw the audience in and to believe in the characters. And the way you do that is through music. Certain cues you can do that with music. Now, you get to the second half of the movie and everything starts to pick up. It rocks. In fact, it really picks up once Leslie Jones's character, where she plays Patty, kicks in, and everything kind of seems to start moving. So that is my thing. Is first half of the movie dry. I didn't feel drawn in because the music choice didn't really get to me. But the second half of the movie. Yes, I really
wasn't there in the original '84 one. Wasn't there a moment like you had a climactic moment with a ghost, and then it starts out with a and then you start kind of like the opening of it, and then it
exactly
kicks it off from there.
Going back to the original movie when they're in the library,
yes,
it's fun music. You get a little spooky music. And then they run out of the library, and it's like, "Hey, it's the Ghostbusters, and welcome!
Let's
get started!" And then boom, da 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 da.
Maybe it was a little more cheesy. Maybe a little bit more cheese factor.
But
this was more.
The fact is, the music drew you in, and you felt fun. It was like a roller coaster ride or whatever.
Yeah. I love the fact that in that scene where Dan Aykroyd's, they're and he comes around a corner, he's got that cigarette hanging off. He says, that wasn't in the script, it just sort of happened, and they just kept it in. It was sort of an accident. It wouldn't actually drop or anything. So
there's my con for...
So you would agree that you said the ending was... There were two halves of the movie, and you didn't... I thought there was some really nice zippy jokes in the first 5 minutes, and then the jokes seemed to fall off. Like joke. There was one racist joke in the front. I was like, what? Whoa. So I thought the ending wasn't as climactic, wasn't a big build-up like you get in other movies. Not just the first two Ghostbusters, but you didn't get that. I didn't get that sense that the whole fate of the world hangs in the balance. It was like, oh, well, New York's in trouble, better fix it. That the ending, because it was underwhelming, made it seem more like that part of the movie highlighted to me like this was a fan fiction rewrite, like the new Star Trek. But that was maybe a poor writing choice, poor script choice. Has nothing to do with the cast or the actors.
Well, here's what I feel about this part, is that I agree with you. However, they can easily take what they've produced here and springboard it into a Ghostbusters 2 movie. And, basically, really, now that they've introduced characters, they've set up the universe, now they can just my turn, to go into a Ghostbusters 2 movie and really own it. And I could see that happening. So, but anyway.
The pacing seemed good to me, but again, you don't get that tension and build up, and they don't really investigate stuff
Right,
like...
exactly. Like, for example, Melissa McCarthy's character and Kristen Wiig's character have a long history of working together, and their dynamics together are really good. There is a scene in there where it's like, man, it's spot on. That is what's needed through the whole course of the movie. But then there are other times it's like, you know, granted they might have had a falling out or whatever, without trying to explain too much.
Their friendship always shines through somehow in whatever roles they're playing together, like in the Bridesmaids. And
once again, it goes back to this first half, second half thing. First half, it was like, okay, I hope the rest of the movie is not like this. We need to get along, or you know.
My only criticism about that is I like Melissa McCarthy as a comedic actor. She and Wig are not afraid to get in there and be silly, or do the physical comedy. I admire that about them. But the thing about Melissa is, I feel like I've seen her play herself in many movies. She's not playing a character where she's herself, she's intelligent, she's funny, but she's got that verbal diarrhea in every movie I've seen her in. I like the spy movie she was in, but again, it's like she just took that character in a way and brought it over into this one, and I saw it a little bit in Mike and Molly, their TV show, which if you've never saw the TV show on CBS Mike and Molly, go see if you can find some on-demand stuff. It's worth it. I don't know why she keeps playing the same person.
And her character,
herself.
I would say that if you're going to kind of compare apples to apples kind of thing, her character was kind of like the Bill Murray.
I guess so.
Yeah, because she's the academic that's kind of like free-flowing.
That's another good point. I didn't really get that these women were carbon copies of the originals. They really had their own personalities.
They did, but there was, basically elements, because obviously Kate McKinnon character, Holtzman, is a takeoff of Egon.
But she's so much her own character.
She is
it's
so
not
much
anything like Egon, the geeky introvert.
I
She's not
love
like
her
that.
character. I like her on Saturday Night Live. In fact, there's one Saturday Night Live episode where supposedly she gets abducted by aliens, and she's in front of this panel of people, and they're talking, and her comedic style is just out of this world.
Check that out.
It is funny. I mean, it had me cracking up.
Is she the one that does Ellen?
She does Ellen. Yes, she's done Justin.
Ellen.
She's done Justin Bieber.
Oh God!
And she's really a great comedic actress, and as far as supporting the rest of this cast, really great. But she was the equivalent of Egon. You had Melissa McCarthy, who was the equivalent or doing like the Bill Murray role, and then you had Kristen Wiig. That was the Dan Aykroyd, who was academia, who wanted to stay in academia. He likes it there. He's been in the private sector, and he doesn't, like it. You don't have to do much to be in academia. And then, of course, what the one character here that I don't, and stop me if I'm getting ahead of myself, Surlana, is Leslie Jones as Patty, who is the Ernie Hudson. But I think in this movie, she's way beyond the Ernie Hudson character because she was smart. She's intelligent.
She had information. That was another con that they said. I didn't. I know this is shocking, but I didn't actually see any of the trailers for this. For some reason, I just didn't. They said in the trailers they downplayed Leslie's character's contributions in the movie because she was a non-scientist. She was just a regular person. But in the movie, she has a lot to contribute because she has the history of New York, and she knows the city inside and out. And she can give them insight to locations, and
And not to give much away here is that there's a time where the educated ones, if you will, she comes back and she says, "Yeah, blah 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 blah." And,
this used to be this sort of historical monument.
All three of them are like, really, you know all this? Wow, they're impressed with her knowledge. So she brings something to the table that Zedmore didn't bring to the original one at all. Tell them about the Twinkie. I mean, that's Winston Zedmore, in I guess it was part 2 with Ghostbusters 2. But not to put his character down, but just Leslie Jones really brought some good stuff to the table with this cast, and for me, that when her character comes on, it seems to all pick up for me. I mean, from there, at that point on, when we get to see her...
Now all the cast is all together.
Yeah, all together, and it kind of like, it comes together.
Now, last kind of con, and this is a big topic for this movie, is the big backlash before this movie even aired about when they announced they were going to do this.
Right.
Okay, now from themarysue.com, if you're a fan girl or fan woman, fan lady, this is a site you want to go to for anything female, geek, nerd related. That's a site you want to go to. So marysue.com pointed out that the haters, quote unquote, were saying things like, before the movie ever, got out there, it was sexist against men. It was pandering to women, like that's terrible. It was pushing feminist agenda. Never mind the fact this was one of the film amongst the thousands that have been created for the male gaze, marketed for a male audience, or primarily tailored towards male fans. By merely having the thought of it existing as an all-female cast, groups of fans decided it was an affront to their personality, for them personally, and they said they put alarming amounts of energy and effort into a smear campaign. So the first trailer for this movie was downvoted on YouTube, and Sony's took that notion of, hey, there's no such thing as bad press.
Just ask Leonard.
Just ask Leonard. He knows all about it. We'll explain that someday if you want to know what we're talking about. It's a Community reference from NBC. So the backlash that this film got, they couldn't do an interview without saying, it ruined my childhood. And I'm thinking, if this film can go back and retroactively ruin your childhood and you're an adult, you need some other further counseling that professionals can only help you with. So, but even Aykroyd got slammed for praising the new film, and he was actually an executive producer on this film. So you have to question the logic of the people that were slamming this film before it even got into the theaters. So there's even a scene where they went back into the script and they wrote something in. They're like, look at all our YouTube comments. They're all saying it's fake and it's all these haters. And that was sort of loosely directed to the backlash of the film. Right. So they went back and just sort of like, oh, you've got to ignore that. You can't read those comments. Just ignore it. That's what they took. That's the attitude they took in the film. So, and they're just like, screw it, we're going to do this anyway. So they handled that in sort of a tongue-in-cheek way.
Surprised you didn't ask me. Did it ruin my childhood?
Did it ruin your childhood? Peter Pan, the boy that never really grows up.
Oh, my childhood's ruined. Oh, please. My childhood isn't ruined. It doesn't change the fact of what I had back in the early 80s. Hold on, I got a cough here real quick. I still enjoy both Ghostbusters. 1 is my favorite. 2 is a nice runner-up. And I've gone back and recently watched Ghostbusters 2. And, it's not too bad. I mean, I think a lot of people gave it a bad rap at the time, but it's a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. Now, flash forward to this new movie. I recognize that I'm getting to that point where I can actually say I'm old as dirt. And so, with time, stories through history have always been retold. Would you agree to that? I mean,
yes.
being an English major, you know of...
Yes, I can say something to that effect, but you don't allow me to talk about that. So.
Well, is it dealing with Jane Austen? Go ahead, put it on the table.
Okay, my friend Leanne pointed out she did watch Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and she said she kind of liked it and had some good points. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It exists. I understand why that's the culture. We're all into zombies in this culture. I get it. That's fine. It's not for me, but as this movie points out, the backlash from marysue.com points out, just because a movie's not for you doesn't mean it might be for someone else. So you can't go around saying everybody should boycott this, but like, well, you could say that for anything. Excuse me, actually. Just because something's not for you doesn't mean it's it for someone else. So just like, okay, this is it for me. Step back and go on with your life. So there's countless retellings.
So it's kind of like I know you got like, say, dads sharing their favorite movies with their kids, and their kids get captivated by this is what my dad loved and he enjoyed it. I wonder if I could take that same storyline and just kind of tweak it to present it to my friends and say,
right.
And so I look at it kind of like that.
Well, to get on your personal taboo subject, Jane Austen. Okay, I messed with you for a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm crunching on a chip that fell on the floor. If you're hearing that crunching noise,
yeah, there's a lot of noises.
Sorry,
we apologize. A little unprofessional tonight, but
yeah, we slept too long. We missed dinner. But I forgot what I was saying.
You were
there's always going to be the remakes and the rewrites.
Mm-hmm.
And as I will go ahead and talk about Violet Ramis. She is the daughter of Harold Ramis.
Mm-hmm.
She said she was 7 years old in 1984 when Ghostbusters came out, and so they're asking about the backlash. Like, her dad always had the idea for a Ghostbusters 3. But for some reason or another, they couldn't get it going. And I didn't know this, but there was some sort of rift between Ramis and Bill Murray, which I didn't know about. So when she was little, she thought, what's the big deal? Because you're Egon, and there's all these cosplay and fanboys and quotes, and her dad told her, Ramis told her that, yeah, they know I'm not really him, but they're excited about it, and they want to get close to something, even if it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
So she remembers the hype. She remembers all the quotes and everybody dressing up as Ghostbusters the first year it came out for Halloween. Even though he said he would get her the little proton pack and a jumpsuit, she wanted to be Cyndi Lauper. So she said he carried around a boombox playing Girls Just Want to Have Fun because he supported her. So she got upset when the real Ghostbusters cartoon came out because Egon in the cartoon was nothing like Egon from the movie. And he said, that's okay. There's I can't tell you how many Supermans there has been since I was a kid. He goes, that wasn't the Superman I grew up with Christopher Reeve. So there you go. There's nobody has a problem with a new Superman every 12, 20 years.
Right.
So she says when Ghostbusters 2 came out, it started all over again, but there was sort of a backlash that it's not as good, and the shine wore off because people were into Batman, Ninja Turtles, Game Boys, and Sega Genesis. So he worked on scripts for Ghostbusters 3, and it never came to fruition. There was a 20-year rift between him and Murray.
Mm-hmm.
So when he had the idea, when Ramis had the idea, Violet says that he had a team made up in his mind of Cal Penn from Kumar Want to Go to White Castle,
and
House, Chris Rock, Jack Black, and Maya Rudolph. Which you want to talk about an eclectic setup there?
That is very.
And he had that thought of it to be really multicultural, I guess, and different genders there. So when he was also a big fan of Kristen and Melissa, he loved Bridesmaids, and he laughed. So she was torn when they said they were going to do one without him after he passed away. And it's going to be an all-female cast. She was shocked. She was outraged because he was gone. But then people started to say things like, oh, well, Harold Ramis must be rolling in his grave to have an all-centered, female-centered cast. She said, okay, wait a minute. Let's stop the insanity. And she said, let's not restrict Ghostbusters universe from extending as far and wide as it possibly can. Let's be generous and make room for all versions of interpretations of what Ghostbusters can be. She goes, if she can still get annoyed at a blonde cartoon Egon, but who cares? It's a 20-year-old cartoon. It's not the movie. It's not the original. It's not trying to be. And neither is this movie. It's not the original. It's not trying to be. It's just trying to tell the story in a new way. She said, I'll be there for Ghostbusters 2016, opening weekend with my kids, eating popcorn, wearing my Egon Spengler tribute pin, and cheering on the new crew. And another thing I saw was on Twitter was some little girls dressed as Ghostbusters shaking Kristen Wiig's hand. And how awesome is it for little girls to get to have somebody to dress up as and look up to as females? So that's my take on it. And I was going to say about your take about remixes and redos. used to tease you. I said, hey, did you like that movie Clueless from the 90s? And you're like, yeah, I really enjoyed that. I said, do you think it was fun? Did you like the story? Did you like the plot? And he's like, yeah. I said, what did you think of the main character trying to be so helpful for her dad, and she kind of gets this thing for her brother-in-law, or rather her stepbrother, and, you know, she always tries to match-make her friends and remake them over. And you were giving me your thoughts about that. So I said, so you enjoyed Clueless, the movie? And you're like, yeah. I said, do you know you just watched Emma from Jane Austen? Because Clueless, the movie, is Emma, the novel Emma, updated for the 90s in teen culture. So that was like a great way to bring a piece of classic literature into the modern world where people can relate to it in a new and different way. So this was done one more time with Pride and Prejudice, which I can't tell you how many times that's been redone, remade, you know, miniseries, movies, whatnot.
Zombies.
Then in 2012 to 2013, a whole new genre came out for a new format for that came out was YouTube. And they took Pride and Prejudice and made it into a video vlog on YouTube and updated it in modern America. And it was brilliant. And that's all I'll say about that, because you don't want me to go on about that.
I know, because you could do a whole show about this.
Yeah, well, it would have to be a Data Bytes, and it would have to be not on SpaceboyUniverse, and I would have to learn how to run Spreaker like you do, and it'd have to be my own show, and I would not have to be able to promote it on SpaceboyUniverse, and it would be okay. Anyway, on with the pros. First off, let's talk about Chris Hemsworth, or as you know him, Thor. The gender flip. This is the stereotypical gender flip, where how many movies and TV shows and depictions have we seen of women throughout the dawn of time where the woman is eye candy. She's like attractive and gorgeous, but she can possibly have a brain. So they took that old trope and brought Chris Hemsworth in as eye candy, and he, poor thing, was dumb as a stump. But his comedic timing, oh my goodness, it was so great. He was just like off the charts, nut job. Very entertaining. I won't spoil it for you, but go for just, I mean, who doesn't like watching Chris Hemsworth? And you will get to see a few shirtless photos of him in the... But his character was so over the top insane. You couldn't take it seriously as a stereotype. And boy, he can bust out some dance moves too.
The thing is that the character was meant to be the equivalent of the female eye candy.
Yes.
That have been in so many different movies in prior.
And they did a flip where, you know how Janine was so in love with Egon, she had the hots for him, and he was like, okay, whatever, or he didn't, or ignored it. Well, they flipped that. I won't get it away, but they flipped that on its head too. So, yeah, that was really funny watching the three of them deal with him when they first met his character. And I was like, oh God. It was really fun.
And yeah, I like the ending. The ending is, well, I mean, this is one of those movies you have to stay through the credits.
Yeah, like a Marvel movie, you have to stay through the credits.
But before you get to the ending, his character ends up, you know, after all the calamity is settled down and everything, and it's like, there's Kevin. He's eating a sandwich. And it's like, when did you have time to get a sandwich? You know, it was like that. This was, you know, it was pretty funny. I mean, so I have to.
I was looking for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just. It was kind of like maybe he'd taken a blow to the head.
Right.
And his personality was all over the place, but
kind of like a Pinky in the Brain, where he's the Pinky of the.
Yeah. What do we do tonight? You know. Another thing that really struck me, and I didn't realize this till the movie was over, was it was very PG.
Yes.
There was no cursing, no overly sexual stuff. So if you have young kids and they're not easily scared of like ghost stuff, you could take them. You know, it's, you know, pretty safe for youngsters. And
that hit me too at the end of the movie. It was like, you know, this was surprisingly squeaky clean as far as movies are concerned. And so I'm going to have to give that an A+, because you don't see that very often in this day of Deadpool.
Well, yeah, there's a baby and a toddler at Deadpool. I'm like, good Lord.
But there were 2 kids behind us at Deadpool that were, I guess, around 5 to 10 in that range.
Mm-hmm. And I think there was infants,
and I know the mother must have felt really uncomfortable when they had all that whoopity-doo scenes going on. And
I'm like, look, I'm not a parent, so I can't judge, but I was thinking, why would you bring a kid? I don't know. And I won't get into that because I'm not a parent.
Surlana didn't hear this, but I heard it. It's like, Mommy, should I cover my eyes? And I was like, oh, my goodness. You shouldn't even be here with those kids. And,
Yeah,
so,
but we can't say anything because we're not parents.
Oh, no, I'm going to say it because, I was brought up like, my grandmother or my, parents would have not.
My parents would take me to certain R-rated things or, more adult-focused plots. And I didn't want to go, but...
Adult situations, as they call it?
Yeah, adult situations. Okay, I remember being taken to see Chariots of Fire, which is not anything bad, when I grew up, but boring to a young child.
Growing up in the 70s, there was a lot of sexual innuendo and...
Innuendo? What about out your window?
And I'm glad I got that on recorded because it's very seldom do I get to hear Surlana do an accent, and now I can play that for...
Yeah, sometimes I'll surprise him when we're, just chit-chatting in a car or something, and I'll bust one out. He was like, can you do that again? I said, nope, 1 per lifetime.
Yeah, she tortures me like that. But, yeah, that's pretty funny. I guess on that note, let's take a quick break here. Let's see here. What can I load up
here? I didn't hear.
I'm going to just play this again for our friend K28. He knows what it is. We'll be right back after this.
Spaceboy.